we look at a figure in the vicinity of $3 million to be able to run the school as we would like in terms of capital projects, as well as operational costs from the government provided funds. What that means is that we have to be very creative. The Queen's Royal College All-Inclusive Fete is geared towards helping us with some major projects. Right now, the entire West Block is devoid of AC. Our science block is a very archaic and ancient educational space. We have a number of electrical issues and we are working on those. We need the financial assistance there. There is also another element sometimes that people do not pay much attention to. That element of socializing, getting people of different generations together so that we can continue the work across the different generations to ensure that the legacy is always intact.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing more than I can say and that would help to introduce this conversation. It was all said there in that presentation by Mr. David Simon. He's the principal of Queen's Royal College, and I'm joined by him in studio this morning. Hello, Mr. Simon. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me. And we're joined by Miss Esther Calendar George. She is the president of the PTA. Welcome to the program. I like the blue, by the way.
Yes, Royal.
Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Well, before we even get into the celebrations, based off of that video, I understand that QRC is actually facing a number of challenges, and you would have just mentioned some in that particular presentation. But could you expand on exactly what is happening at the school?
Okay, so of course Queen's Royal College, that is one of the oldest secondary schools in Trinidad and Tobago, even one of the oldest educational institutions in our country. So quite naturally, with that age, there are bound to be structural and infrastructural issues that we will have to deal with. The main building is sitting there since 1904, all right? This year, it's 120 years. So naturally, there are going to be issues. There are issues throughout the school as well, not only in the main building, even the blocks that have been added after the main building, we have issues. So we have electrical issues throughout the school. We have issues with leaking roofs. The main building suffers from that, as well as the north, the west block. Our pavilion needs quite a lot of work to be able to be used safely by our students. Even the lighting throughout the compound is something that causes an issue. In our modern world, our perimeter fencing is very low. That is something we would like to address and raise the fence to ensure that everyone inside is as secure and safe as they possibly can. We also have an issue right now with our entire West Block, which is without the AC, all right? And we are seeking right now to have that matter rectified. That in itself is a very, very costly project. So there are a number of infrastructural issues. And of course, Queen's Royal College has always been pleading for more space. We are very cramped because our student population has increased significantly and sits pretty close to 800.
Oh, wow.
Right? And when we look at the space that we have available, it is not enough space for us to be comfortable as an educational institution. It is why years ago we attempted to have discussions, and we did have discussions about the possibilities of getting the space that was assigned for Queen's Royal College, in which included where the old Ministry of Education is located.
Yes, yeah.
So there are many factors surrounding Queen's Royal College and its transformation in terms of the educational landscape of Trinidad and Tobago.
And I see as you were speaking, Miss Calendar George is shaking her head because, you know, based on what Mr. Simon is saying, I mean, as president of the PTA, what are some of the concerns expressed by the parent population in regards to these challenges or these issues?
Well, I can say that the burning one was the air conditioning system, because we all know that we did suffer some hot spells last year.
And it's going to get worse.
And it's going to get worse. So that was a really burning issue. The other one, of course, was the electrical, because it's the safety of our young men, right? So one thing happens and you have to evacuate the entire school, and this can happen on more than one occasion at any given time. I've recently learned that they had to shut down one of the, I think the North Block recently, because of the electrical overheating, and they had to suspend any activities in that area. So those are some real concerns, and Sir touched on infrastructural issues. Of course, we don't have other issues, but we try to make the boys very happy mentally, you know, and holistically. So not only focus on the infrastructural issues, but we also have other initiatives that are financially, I wouldn't say a burden, but are financially, exhaustive, such as we have programs, of course, with gender-based violence.
Yes,
so you know how serious that has been. Again, it came back up in the new year. So the young men receive training on how to manage themselves and masculinity. We also do things on mental health, because again, we have to ensure that the holistic environment is conducive for learning, yes, but also conducive for a well-rounded young man. So it's a lot. As parents, we do try to voice as best as we can, and we sometimes are the voice over the school where we can, you know, and that is an important role that we don't take for granted. We would have lobbied in the past to get the hall that was down for many years. My son entered in 2017, and I believe it's right after the pandemic or so when the hall was actually instituted. However, since then, because of the work that was done, there have been excessive leaks, and I've actually witnessed flooding.
Okay.
Right? Recently, we went to the gym, and because of the rain that we had, items in the back of the gym were soaked, and they had to be, some things had to be discarded. So these are some really, really burning infrastructure issues, but we also try to tackle the other issues on the mental health side as well.
Now, Mr. Simon, to what extent, I mean, what you've described and what Ms. Calendar George has described, QRC is still up and running, but how is this really affecting the delivery of education? And education is not just in the classroom, it's throughout the entire day. How is it affecting the delivery of education?
Well, you touched on a couple of things here, so let me deal even before I get to that. You spoke about the fact that QRC is still up and running. Of course, it's up and running through the efforts of the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education has scarce resources to manage.
If I may just interrupt. Through the efforts of the teachers and the parents as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to that. So the Ministry of Education has its scarce resources to manage, and we have to deal with that. We have to deal with whatever we get when the vote is allocated to us. We then need to be very creative as an institution. We need to be very resilient. And for that, you're correct. We do have the assistance of the students and the teachers when we ourselves get involved in our fundraising. So recently we had our October Fair, and for that October Fair, it is a social day where we have all of our stalls, and our parents and the community will come out and they're part of that. We have a party that we throw after. So the school itself engages in a number of activities as we attempt to raise funds. We also have the PTA, as represented by our president this morning, and we also have the Old Boys Association. All of these organizations play a very significant role in our attempts to keep the plant running. Let me just give you an example. Some years ago, the area we now refer to as the North Lawn, that is where many of the teachers, well, all of the teachers and our visitors had to park. That area was just pure mud because it was just the dirt and the grass, the constant driving on it when rain fell. It was just a muddy area. Very unsightly too, because it is right in front of the main building area and to those viewing as they pass the savannah. In order for us to deal with that, that figure was almost $400,000 to bring that area with our pavers and everything up. That was a significant sum of money. The Old Boys Association stepped in, and it is through the Fete and proceeds that came from the Fete that we were able to have that area paved with the pavers, and it is far more comfortable now. It looks very nice, but those of us who remember would remember that area being a mud patch. From the last Fete, we were able to put in place a number of infrastructural things like the lights. All right, the lighting around the compound was significantly improved after the last Fete that we had, because what was done is that interwoven into the spend for the infrastructure for the Fete, we looked at the needs of the school and attempted to marry both. So that last committee played an important role in getting that. So it is through efforts of teachers, students, parents, as well as the Old Boys Association that we limp along at times. But we're able to make it, and we're able to do quite well. You spoke about the multifaceted aspect of education, and Queen's Royal College is very big on that all-round education. So for example, again, with the assistance of the Old Boys Association, every year we send a team to the pen relays. The Old Boys Association gives a financial donation, which comes from the Fete and any other activities that they have, right? So they are constantly, we do have our achievement day this Thursday in Queen's Hall. I had to pick up the phone and call the president of the PTA and say, well, we need refreshments for that particular day. This is the bill, and we expect that type of assistance.
Wow. So then, Ms. Calendar George, this relationship between the principal and the staff, the PTA, the Old Boys, is very integral to ensure that QRC, or any other school for a matter of fact, really pushes through and pushes on.
Correct, totally correct. It cannot be done alone. It cannot be done alone. And I want to emphasize that QRC is a public school. It's not a board school, as some people may think. And just as any other public school, we do have our challenges, but we have a group of stakeholders that are invested in the young men. That's it. That's the main, that's our why, our young men. And this is why we're here and what we're doing, what we do.
I think that term is really synonymous with the conversation that we're having this morning, invested in the young men of QRC. So let's get in to the
fun part.
Fun part, yes, the fun part. And that's on January 27th. Enter the majestic kingdom of celebration as QRC presents what deems to be the most extravagant event of the year, and that is Fete Royal, the coronation. So let me start, Mr. Simon, the coronation. I like the theme, but I want to know why was that theme chosen for this year's events?
Well, I think that the answer to that is obvious. I mean, the Queen's Royal College has always been associated with royalty, and recently there was a coronation with a new king placed on the throne in England, in Great Britain. So we decided to just play on that theme, give it the carnival swing. It's not difficult for us to do that because of our name, Queen's Royal College, and then we have the most beautiful building in all of Trinidad and Tobago, if not the entire region.
You certainly do. And royal blue.
And of course, the blue bloods.
And that's the thing. Why does this fete promise to be the most extravagant of the year?
Because we always improve. So we would have had some challenges last year with our food. So we looked at that as well. We would have changed our layout. We would have added items to the menu. And for the ladies, we do have our Prosecco Unlimited, right? So we're not going to have an issue with Prosecco. But what we did do, especially with this committee, was to go back over the years and look at the product that was QRC and the brand that it had. And of course, we know that we are proud to say that we are probably the only brand that's standing from the original all-inclusive fetes, right? From a school level, that we have survived, and we are, as Sir mentioned, we are resilient. So we continuously look at ways of improving the fete and experience. And this year promised to be a royal event. So you are going to be treated as like
give us a bit more insight, because the ladies love to hear you've got a full flow of Prosecco.
So Prosecco.
But what more is there?
So of course, this year we also offered, even though everyone is royalty, we offered an extra little touch of cabanas for our corporate corporate supporters, as well as a wide array of performances. Yeah. So we bring in the market, the whole, I don't know if I could say the whole Blinken market.
You can say that.
So we have a whole royal Blinken market. Of course, we have Ms. Nadia Batson and her band. We do have, I should say, Her Majesty. We do have His Majesty, Vikings of soca.
Okay.
Yeah, so that promises to be a trend, a treat, I should say. And of course, His Majesty Kes and his band are going to be there, full band performance. So it's
and His Majesty Raymond
Ramnarai.
You have
so we have four big bands.
Very, very big bands indeed. Mr. Simon, how is this all being pulled together? How are preparations coming along?
I would say that preparations are coming along quite fine. I would urge individuals to get your tickets, and because those tickets are moving quite nicely. We are very pleased with how things are going. So people can get their tickets. Of course, you can get your tickets at our box office at Queen's Royal College, 622-1671. Tickets are also available at all Bagalitos outlets in Long Circular Mall, Grand Bazaar, and of course in C3. And online, you can get them from frontlineticketing.com. There's also a ticket hotline number, 372-1857. And of course, you can follow us on social media at QRC Events, at QRC PTA, or at QRC OBA.
I think y'all are going to be happy. I've got frontline tickets right here.
That is nice.
I pulled it up one time, ladies and gentlemen. So from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Starting, as I said, 6 p.m. or 1 a.m.
Yes.
January 27th, which is next weekend. Not this weekend, coming next weekend. So you still have some time, but do you still really want to wait? Tickets are going very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. And it's happening at Queen's Royal College. Fete Royal, where everyone is treated like royalty. I like that.
Yes.
I definitely like that. Because when I go to a fete, and especially in all-inclusive, that's what I want to feel like. Yes. So, to the PTA and to the old boys, all the work that they're doing, thank you very much and congratulations. And to the principal and to the staff that make all this possible, all the hard work that's going into it, regardless of the challenges invested in our young men. Thank you guys. And I really hope that this all pulls together so well. We'll have a follow-up conversation.
Of course.
And
thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, if you would like, please do so actually donate to Queen's Royal College. You can do so via Republic Bank Limited, Queen's Royal College account number 5601-983-80101, and that's a checking account. And it's up on your screen. I just called this out for you just in case, but it's up on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. So please donate for a good cause as we invest in our future of Trinidad and Tobago. So, as we end, Fete Royal, the coronation.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us, and we appreciate being here this morning.
Certainly. Well, do have a great day, and I'll see you next weekend.
All right.
We look forward to having you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we take a break on the program. When we return, we'll get into some more carnival conversations. We'll be right back.